5, 4, 3.
It's showtime.
Good morning, Vietnam!
Welcome to the party, pal!
See you at the party, Richter.
I didn't kill my wife! I don't care!
Get away from her, you bitch!
I'll be back.
I'll be back.
You did not going to say that, did you? What I do have are a very particular set of skills.
The dude abides.
I'm not bad. I'm just drawn that way.
Inconceivable!
Little Dallas smoothie pass.
This is a tasty burger.
Please.
Want to hear the most annoying sound in the world?
Do or do not. There is no try.
Dead or alive, you are coming with me.
I'm the bad guy?
And hold. Smash.
I can speak with an English accent.
Hit the hash pipe and join the National Guard. I could be elected president.
You went over my helmet?
What would you prefer? Yellow spandex? I know, right?
The list is in the open!
Hey, where are the white women at?
They're digging in the wrong place.
I'm gonna make him an offer he can't refuse.
Are you not entertained?
Second start of the ride. And straight on till morning.
Meow.
You son of a bitch.
1.21 gigawatts!
Wax on, wax off.
Oh my goodness, I am sporting a tremendous woody right now.
Bartender is the aristocrat of the working class.
You want to flip 6-3 whole play and you could score.
Cover me.
Dogs and cats living together, fast hysteria. On this team, we fight for that inch.
It might be a tumor.
It's not a tumor.
No ticket.
No ticket.
I get older, they stay the same age.
It's not what you know, it's what you can prove.
I'm a dude playing a dude disguised as another dude. He's 15.
I ate his liver with some fava beans and a nice Chianti.
Hope is a good thing. Maybe the best of things. And no good thing ever dies.
Good evening, and welcome to the Reel McCoy. I'm your host, Meffistoe, and always with me, my hetero life mate. Oh, my feelings. How are you, sir? Not back from the restroom, I see.
A little bit miffed, typing you a message real quick, and I'll let you know. But otherwise, pretty good.
Okay,
this is a fun one.
You're miffed already. Awesome. What is the Reel McCoy, you might ask? The Reel McCoy is your weekly movie podcast where we ask you to go watch a movie you watch and come back to us, and we break it down for you. This week or this month, it is our Cyber Month, in which we discuss everything dystopian future. Well, not dystopian future, but essentially anything to do with computers, AI, and robotics, androids, all that good stuff, essentially AI. And for that, we have sort of a definitive modern take or movie about AI, a little movie called Ex Machina. Not AI by Steven Spielberg, because
We do not know. No, that's a.
we could
We
but
have.
we didn't.
No.
But we didn't. All right.
We've also
So
done iRobot, but we didn't for various.
because it, well, to be honest, by the time we ran out of good movies and start dealing with the really shitty movies, I think this show's gonna last for about I don't know 20, 30 years ish.
We got a long way to go.
Yeah, we got a long way to go. So how have you been? Oh, my feelings. Apart from the message that you put on my screen. How many times have you watched the movie this week?
The tariffs were a bad idea, just putting it that way, because they fucking suck. Watch it actually 3 times this week. You know why? Because it's such a fast watch. And as we discussed backstage, this could be such an easy and simple stage play. And you mentioned that Oscar Isaac said that like this would be a perfect stage play. It could. It very, very, very easily done. Obviously not with the same effects, but still.
Obviously. I've actually watched it once this week because I recently, and just because as a sort of a preparation to do the show, because we we schedule our shows months, almost a year in advance, just because we want to make sure all the different months and movies kind of fit together with everything. I already reviewed it on my channel. So I've watched it. Now I've rewatched it again. Man, I didn't watch it when it came out at first. I think it came on, I think I saw it 2018, I guess, when it came on TV. And again, it was one of those movies that I didn't really know existed. Mm-hmm. And then my wife watched it because it came on TV, and I specifically watched the ending of it, which didn't make sense. Yes. And then sort of did a rewatch, and I was like, oh, where was this movie when I was trying to find good movies back in the day? And yeah, there's a lot going on with this movie. And there's a lot that it tells. It's so weird because when you kind of know stuff about stuff that happened with how the story was developed, how they want to present it, when they did present it, why did they want to do this? Mm-hmm. And then you get Alex Garland saying, well, I made this movie in order for people to have their own interpretation, because the inspiration that went into this movie was full of movies or books that were open to interpretation. So it doesn't tell you how to feel. It has an open-ended question where it just asks questions, which in terms of, if you look at the movie, there's a lot of questions and answers and dialogues and going back and forth that has to do with,
which in so many ways,
AI.
if you think about it, the film itself is its own sort of Turing test.
Yes, very much so. And also,
not exactly one for one, but it's its own interpretation of a test where it's testing almost your own moral character and your own moral fiber. Because I've talked to a lot of different people about this film, and some people are outraged by what happened to Nathan because Nathan was right all along. Some people think that it was completely correct that Ava got away.
And to be fair, I saw a YouTube video by this guy who was, dissecting essentially just the ending. And he was like, I was so annoyed that Wikipedia had the plot at the end really like in favor of why Nathan, like AI is bad and she's the Terminator now and that sort of a thing, which is essentially one side of the aisle instead of the other.
But the thing is, like, she has sentience, but she actually didn't the only person she wanted to harm was her creator, and the one that was actually going to possibly we'll get to why she left. So she left Kayla behind, which does make sense in its own right, but yeah.
Okay. So essentially today, because there's a lot of dichotomy and a lot of like hidden meaning and a lot of interpretation, we're going to go bouncy a little bit today. Not going through the entire story. I'm going to go again back and forth because I have different ideas of topics of discussion. I haven't discussed it with all my feelings. This is I want to get his like initial reaction. I want to deal with it because I want to take him out of his day-to-day life and that message that he just put on, which was very much in real life stuff.
Yeah.
So we are in the realm of metaphors, happiness, movie going, and talking about stuff that we love. Let's say hello to the chat. Keely Chow, Sander Hammerschlag, Juliet, and the rest of the Salty Nerd raid that just came over on their own, which is great and all good. All the lurkers that don't say anything but do watch. I do get your messages when you do send me a message. Thank you. Appreciate that. I love that you just enjoy and watch or even listen. That is all good. All right. Cool. Here we go. So we start at the beginning, which is behind the screens.
Sound production, take 2.
All right. So, heads up. I have very few notes because there's very few information about things about the production. But we'll get to that in a minute. Okay. So, Alex Garland had the story of this movie outlined already when he was about 11 or 12, and this is after experimenting with coding on a home PC that his mother and father bought, and he went to this coding class, and then like really essentially basic robotics coding class as well. But it kind of inspired him to write this sort of a story about this robots coming to life. But there wasn't any substance in it. There wasn't, and you cannot derive Ex Machina and just, oh, he already knew it at 12. No. It got further developed when he was in college, and he had a lot of conversations with a neurologist friend that essentially said computers will never be sentient. They had that sort of discussion where is that point of sentiency? Where does the the ones and zeros become a real life? Which is a question that is on everybody's mind about AI or future AI. Where do you see AI develop in the future? Something that we covered in the Terminator, something that we covered in Terminator 2 way back in the day. And
all we can hope is with our current AI, I'm just going to interject here with a joke.
Sure.
With the amount of nonsense that's been thrown out there, let's hope it never gains sentience, because we are all doomed.
Essentially, if AI comes to life right now, it's going to be a fat, nerdy, unkempt beard incel, essentially, because that's
with powers to launch nukes, and be like, well, I hate everybody, so everybody's got to go.
Those damn Greeks. Never mind. I'm just kidding.
Hey, well, it's May. They're going to be on vacation, so that they're out.
Yeah, they're out. They're out. No more coffee house internet. Well, that's an old joke, but never mind. Okay.
Preach.
Hi, Mike. He's not even watching. He's by himself. I actually wanted to be. I'm not on this show, but I knew this weekend he's not.
Just a reference to Mike's old stories about his Greek cafe friends. So,
I know. Anyway, it was on the pre-production of the movie that. Sorry. On the pre-production of the movie Dread, which Alex Garland wrote the screenplay and was part of the production team, that he came across a book by Murray Shanahan. I could not find the name of the book, but it revolves around that idea of how the transfer from computers or AI into consciousness. What is consciousness, essentially? Or it discusses the matter and tries to give certain viewpoints. Mm-hmm. And that kind of gave him that fully matured idea on what to write. So he actually wrote down a screenplay or a treatment and put it aside and was like, I'm going to get this after I'm finished with Dread. And he actually did. The entire script itself was really inspired by themes that, are derived from our dealings with AI. So he mentioned it himself in an interview, 2001 Space Odyssey, and the movie Altered States as well, influenced by Shakespeare's Tempest. Just influences on like themes that they had, and a few other books that he mentioned.
I would think that the Metropolis would have been an influence as well.
He didn't mention it. Also, a lot of stuff that we covered when we covered Blade Runner, which was Nietzschean philosophy about Übermensch and how maybe AI, when it becomes sentient, it will be the Übermensch and the sort of final manifestation of Nietzschean doctrine as well, which is,
But we'll talk about also Nathan's nihilistic view on how AI will supersede humanity later, because it's probably one of the most profound.
A lot of these
the film, but yeah,
a lot of these concepts manifest themselves in Nathan. He doesn't like give you, oh, I come up with this idea because I've read this book. They did it in a different way. It's really subtle. That's why I said it's telling on itself without actually telling on itself. In order to make the movie and get full creative control, because Alex Garland did not want to compromise about this screenplay at all. At all. He agreed to do it on the very smallest of small budget that was available, of course, and do it quickly. I'll tell you in a minute how quickly that was. Essentially, about the casting, Alicia Vikander was cast not immediately. They checked up a few girls, but she was the one that kind of fit with what they were going for, because her and the girl playing Kyoko both had a ballerina background. They were very slender, and that kind of fit with what they were going for. Plus, she had a face like a little girl, but also a woman.
Okay.
So sort of like you see the mature, it goes from asking little girl question into having a full on, oh, this is a woman I'm talking to, not a little girl. That's what they were going for. That's why she was hired.
That works out very well, because if you look at the other, it's their Gideons, the model types that Nathan created. All of the different ones have kind of a slim figure, except for one, which was
it's like
I think it's
4,
Jasmine.
yeah, 3 or 4.
That's Samara Templeton's Jasmine was the African American one who had a different frame.
Mm-hmm.
And that's that kind of nation. She just has a different frame. But like even if you look at the other ones, like the Model 1 is Katya, and the other one was the other slimmer Asian version was Amber.
Yeah. The one that destroys her
like she
arms.
takes like the skin off of it.
Yeah.
So yeah.
But they were going for that build, but they were looking for a face that would match. And they liked her audition, which
I will say she plays robotic very well. She even did better in her role as Lara Croft.
Wait. Anyway, so I mentioned, and Domhnall Gleeson was handpicked by Alex Garland. He worked with him before on, I think it was in Sunshine.
Yes, and also just as also another aside, I know we don't have many notes for this, so I have to make jokes if I can. Whenever I see him, I just like I hear Radiohead.
I know. They look the same.
He looks a lot like Tom York. He does.
Yes. Boosh. Thank you for joining us, Boosh. She is way naked in this. Just the one time, which is great. Where was I? Domhnall Gleeson. Yes, he was handpicked by Garland. A, because he worked with him before, and B, he liked his sort of, a shy demeanor, but kind of looks like he's willing to be outgoing, but not really. And Domhnall didn't really audition. He auditioned for Garland in Garland's apartment, which sounds a lot shadier than it actually was.
To be fair, Garland is not one of the Weinsteins, so it's not that kind of interview.
No. However, and Gleeson said, well, I'm willing, like, why are we doing this in your apartment? Again, not shady. And Garland said, well, you're not really auditioning to me. I'm preparing you for the audition you're going to go. I want you, but in order to placate the studios, I have to go through this audition process. And he went to the audition. He was prepared for what Alex was looking for. So the casting director was like, fuck yes, you're on. That's how it got made. So the shoot was, on the whole, 6 weeks. That's it. It was 4 in Pinewood in the interiors, and 2 more weeks in Norway. Now, they've already scouted a location that they wanted in Norway of this hotel that kind of protrudes out from the cliff. So you see the sort of the surroundings in front of it. So essentially the exterior interiors matched what they shot in Pinewood. So they scouted out for the location, saw the layout of the essentially the exterior shots, but the inside of the kitchen and all that stuff, and then they matched it. So when Gleeson or Isaacs moved from room to room, it was essentially done in weeks apart, but it seems seamless because the camera kind of follows the people moving from room to room or from one room to another. And it's really weird, but yes, it was shot weeks apart.
Yeah,
and the outside is definitely like the shot where you see the glacier in the background. That's all like Norway, and done in 2 weeks.
Yeah,
done in 2 weeks.
Which is what also that hiking shot is fantastic over the running water right near the near permafrost.
Yeah,
that's so cool. But now Sander is right. No, he wasn't in Sunshine. The reason why the director wanted him was because he was in Dread.
Gleeson was in Dread?
He was a lead techie. Domhnall Johnson,
that's right.
He was a lead techie. Yeah,
that's right. So like I said, I knew I never seen Sunshine. I just knew he was on. Garland did Sunshine. So
yeah,
sorry,
it's because of Dread.
My mistake. My mistake. So when in Pinewood, and actually, I'm not sure. There's one shot of Vindikar in Norway where she essentially just leaves the place. But most of her things are interior in Pinewood. The entire movie, the entirety on its own, was not done with no green screens, no special effects, no dotted suits like we know from like Marvel movies or any other superhero movies. None of that. It was all essentially done with that specific suit that was made for Vindikar. None other. So when you see like the room shot within her stomach, it's essentially shot with her there and shot without her there, and they just superimposed that when they did the VFX. Now, how did they do this? The VFX thing was a long story. Essentially, the suit itself it was a composite of a stretchy material inlaid with a wire mesh and covered with very thin powdered, like a metallic powder, not like sequins and all that stuff, not glitter, but essentially a very fine powder that is consisted of metallic filaments,
like flakes. Yeah,
whatever. And it took them a while to actually find and make the thing, and it had to fit Vindikar as well. So they had to find the fabric, match it, do several different powders in order to make it right. And then they sectioned off certain areas in order for the VFX to later, what they did was essentially rotoscoped it. They just rotoscoped it and then superimposed stuff on itself. So when she covers her leg with the white sock, which was, I thought that was one of the shots that was like, where is the seams?
Yeah.
They, in the behind the scenes stuff, they showed you It essentially is like you take like wires, like green wires, rotoscoped it on the actual shot, and just replace the bits that you need, and it just goes seamlessly. When she lays down, there's a moment where she lays down on the couch, and there's a you see the shadows. Shadows are added in later.
Yeah,
that's it. It's all done like that. Now, yeah, we'll add in. Essentially, it was an add-in in post. Plus, because certain areas, why did they need that metallic powder? Is there are areas where she's in the dark, you don't really see the mesh. When she goes out into closer to the lights, it kind of lights up. So essentially what Garland wanted to do is have the entire suit like a spider web, so it can reflect lights as soon as the light hits it. Essentially, when you see light shines on a like a spider web in the morning, kind of looks shiny because of the mildew and not like moisture in the air and all that stuff. That's the sort of thing he wanted to get to. Cool. Awesome. Really complicated, really stupid. But it took Alicia Vikander 3 hours in makeup to get into the suit and have the facial thing kind of go up, so the skin goes up around the suit.
Yeah.
That's the appendages that you can technically you can actually see, but you know.
Which was, again, the first time you see the film, it's very off-putting because, again, you don't see the models except for obviously Kyoko. You can tell from the get-go, by the way, that Kyoko's obviously she's a fucking robot.
Yeah, I knew it from the start. Even like fresh watch, because when I saw the ending, you don't really get to see Kyoko being robotic, just Alicia or Ava.
Yeah.
So you know, I kind of put it together right away, but you know, it doesn't really try to hide it, but you know.
Yeah.
So in terms of distribution, Focus Films, this is a Universal Studios movie, but Focus Films were the actual distributors. So the publishers essentially is Universal, whatever. I hate doing the term. Anyway,
film distribution, it gets really wonky when it comes down to minor studio that's actually owned by a bigger studio who actually owns the distribution rights.
Let's just put it aside. So Focus Films didn't want to distribute the movie in the US. So the rights went to A24, which is a Warner Brothers company.
Yeah, which is so odd because A24 is now known for all of these sort of films. So it's, yeah.
Yeah, and what they did to promote the movie, they went into this film festival and they used Alicia Vikander's picture on Ava's profile and they put it on Tinder. And when you matched with the Ava profile, it sends you to an Instagram page promoting the movie.
That's okay. That's clever. That's really
very clever.
Very clever and unique marketing. That's really well done.
Yes.
I like that a lot.
And this is again 2014. Yeah, essentially.
It would have been probably 2013 then, because it was
2013. Yeah, essentially, because it's a film festival. Yeah. And the last thing is, just to be clear, we're going to talk about it a lot, I guess. The Turing test comes from Alan Turing, the guy who worked on the Enigma breaking computer in the UK. And when it was proposed, it was just a proposal by Alan Turing. Essentially, it says what Domhnall Gleeson's character says. Caleb, he says it. When the test is, if a man talks to a computer, not AI, but you know, man talks to a computer, and he doesn't know it's a computer, then the computer passed the test and it's sentient. The proposal doesn't say sentient. They say we're past the point of no return. That's the proposal of Alan Turing. So I want it to be exact. Now, there are many interpretations. One of them was done by Alex Jones. I think he was like a not a blogger, but a writer for a tech writer, a science writer.
And not that Alex Jones.
Not that Alex Jones. A different, I think it's a UK Alex Jones.
Alex Jones.
Not that Alex Jones, another Alex Jones. I didn't even make the connection right until this moment.
You're fine.
He said that essentially what we know or what we interpret is if you talk to an AI and you don't recognize it's an AI, no, not if you don't recognize that it's an AI. If it fools you to think it's a real person, it's not even fooling you to be a real person. It fools you to be a female specifically. And it works for both sexes. So if a male thinks it's a female for one reason, the female will think it's a female for a different reason. It comes from the how do men and women interact with people. So they interact with females, interact with males differently, and with other females differently. That's what I'm saying. And it's a very interesting idea because it's literally what this movie is all about.
Yes. Yeah,
essentially. It's not only interacting with AI, it's essentially interacting with an AI that wants you to think it's a female and fall in love with it.
And also specifically a heterosexual female.
Heterosexual female, yeah.
Which I think would have been the only better thing would probably be his last test would have been the later part of the next model of Ava that Nathan described would be bringing in a straight female to talk to Ava to see if they form a friendship as they're both heterosexual if they become gal pals.
Yes, and essentially being cats and really shit on each other behind each other's backs.
Yeah, that'll be really catty. Yeah, well, hey, we're not trying to talk in negatives today. We're trying to have a good time.
That's life.
Yeah.
All right, cool. Before we start the movie, let's play another game. Let's play a first game. No, what another game? Okay. What other game were we playing? Essentially,
life.
Let's play the game of life. Missing Marquee is where we take 10 posters of movies, have their text written off, we display them, and you guys in the chat will have to guess which movie this is. And of course, just because I'm such a great host, I have not prepared this in advance. Plus, I didn't. Oh, what am I doing? What am I doing? That is not.
Well, that's the wrong game.
Wrong game.
That's also a very interesting opening gambit there.
I know. It came on first. So I said, well, the AI lords are already talking to us
we're gonna
from
keep it.
the abyss. And here it is. What is this movie, ladies and gentlemen? It is a remake of a movie.
Yes. I remember it now.
This is Jude, which I found it hilarious because he was in a film called AI.
Yes.
by
Sanders
Spielberg.
already has it.
Yeah, Becky's got it. Nice. Alfie is correct.
Sorry, Becky. I didn't see it at first.
Yeah. This is a movie we need to find a theme for because I have not watched it in a long while.
Yes, it's a really, really good film too. We could do a Clive Owen month, to be honest, because there are several films of his that I would really like to cover.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice. Children of Men is correct.
Oh, I love this movie so much, and I know you hate it.
You know what? It is a guilty pleasure movie.
And it's actually, it sets up a sequel to another movie that you hate.
Which one?
Get Him to the Greek. That's the same rocker. Like he plays the same character.
It's essentially the same character. I think this one is actually a sequel to Get Him
No,
to the Greek.
it's after. No, Get Him to the Greek is after Forgetting Sarah Marshall. Thank you, Becky, because he mentions like, oh no, because there's a thing where they actually showed the ghost, the blind surgery or whatever at the end. Where he's on the
that's
plane.
right.
Like, oh, I dated her.
That's right.
Yeah.
All right. Forgetting Sarah Marshall is correct.
Ooh, one of Tarantino's.
A movie that I fell asleep in the theater watching. And when I got up and saw the ending, I was like, oh, yeah, I got it. It's not a bad movie. It's just from the repertoire. It's not the best.
Yeah.
Jackie Brown is correct. Where is it? Why are... Son of a bitch.
Too easy.
Love this movie. Absolutely love this movie.
Do you think it's probably one of the best remakes of all time? I think it is definitely up there. It's in consideration.
Oh yeah. It is surpassing the original. I watched the original 2-3 years after this movie came out. It's not the same movie.
Not really.
It's not the same movie. That's why I love The Color of Money. It's not really a sequel to The Hustler. It's just the same character.
That's true. Yeah.
It is Ocean's 11, of course. And yet another Las Vegas movie.
Oh.
Hey, I like it. I really like it.
Yeah.
I really like it. I know people don't like it, and Gary Sinise, it's pretty dodgy in that movie, but yeah. Snake Eyes is correct.
It's one of 3 films that has Nicolas Cage in Las Vegas at some point in time.
Wasn't he in that movie where there was a lot of Elvis impersonators as well?
No, you're right. Yeah, he was. Shit, I forgot about that one.
See, I told you. There's another one.
There's 4.
Sander, you are the man. It is the kid. I mean, it kind of tells in the thing, but if you don't know Chaplin, you don't know.
Yeah. Oh, well.
I just want to see how fast. Becky, when I was 15, all the Charlie Chaplin movies that's a Chaplin movie to me.
Sander, not giving it to you. It has to be the full title.
No, shut up.
Oh, wow. Yes, a film that bombed horrifically.
This movie is a mess, and it's long, too.
It's so bad.
It is a real mess.
Full name.
Full name.
This one requires the full name because it's so bad.
The movie's title is as long as the movie itself, and not to be down, but does this go in the Clive Owen month too?
No,
because he's in it. He plays such a stupid villain too.
No way.
This is Valerian and the Thousand Planets. Planet, I think.
Yeah.
Just fucking title.
It's really bad.
Holy shit! That movie. I've seen it way too many times. Sadly, my wife was like, "Yeah, let's watch it."
It has to be the
again?
Rihanna, the Rihanna singing bit. This is like what?
I didn't even remember Rihanna sang in it.
Yeah, it's like what the. Why are you with this?
At the blue people with all the pearls and what the pearls were all about.
Yeah.
Is that memories or is that data cores or what the fuck was it?
For the longest time, I conflated this with another bad sci-fi movie that was done by the Wachowskis. Jupiter
one?
Ascending.
Yeah,
I conflated the two for the longest time. They're both really bad movies and they both make no sense.
Let's be honest. The first Matrix was their best movie.
Yes.
And they should have stopped.
And all I'm saying is they allowed the Wachowskis to make Jupiter Ascending and they allowed whoever to make whatever the hell Valerian was. but John Carter still gets shit. John Carter was not that bad of a movie overall.
I like John Carter. I actually do like John Carter. I cannot stand Valerian.
That was actually a decent film. It is poorly timed.
Yeah. Poorly timed, poorly PR'd. That's just too many. It's essentially too many things were working against it, and when you look at it on the face of it, it had no chance.
Yeah,
had no chance whatsoever. All right, cool. This movie is an hour 48 in total, but
actually, screen time, it's only like an hour 40.
Yeah,
it goes by. It's a fast clip.
It really goes fast. All right, cool. So essentially, I'll give you the premise, and we'll start to dive into the more minutia of the film. This entire podcast really relies on the fact that you have watched
it,
the movie. I don't say it. I almost never say it, but it is really essential for most of these movies to actually watch them before we discuss them, because you get a lot of things from the rewatch, even though you've watched the movie 10 times, but you put it aside for about 4 or 5 years and you haven't watched it in a bit, and then you rewatch it. And with sort of like you get current day context, this movie was 10 years ahead of its time, at least. Yeah. Do you agree?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
All right. So the premise is our boy. I didn't touch upon one thing. I didn't mention one thing, which was very, very, very important, especially for the beginning, is our boy Caleb Smith works at Blue Book, which is essentially not Facebook.
It's Google.
More Google. And he wins this prize.
It's not essentially, no, it is. It's just Google. It's Google.
Yeah, because it's the biggest search engine in the world. That's what they claim it is.
Well, no, because even Ava goes back to the actual stats later on. It compromises 90% of the entire world's internet search history. Like that's
essentially it's Google.
Yeah.
But he is a coder in Google. They don't say exactly his title, but they say he's a coder. He's not high up, but he's high enough. And he wins this prize. What is the prize? You get to spend a week with the CEO of Blue Book, who is
Nathan Bateman. Wow, that last name doesn't ring out psychopath at all.
I don't know what you mean. You get to spend a week with the CEO of the company, who is a known recluse. Now, they don't say why he's a recluse. They just say he's a recluse. And essentially,
And they have him fly into the compound where he goes, so when are we going to get to the estate? We've been flying over the estate for the last 2 hours.
Now, this is something that Alex Garland said. It's like, I want you. So they had a budget issue, essentially. How could you make a movie about a guy who is probably the Elon Musk of this universe, okay? And make it that his house is a billionaire's house on essentially a millionaire's budget? Well, you just put it away very far, so he's a recluse, and his entire compound is a bunker, essentially, which, kind of fits. And there's a reason why it's a bunker and nobody gets in and nobody gets out, because it's something so secret that you have to keep away from the world.
Okay, because even when the helicopter, the pilot drops him up, goes, no, I can't, I'm not allowed to go any further. Duck your head down so the blades don't hit you.
Yeah. So,
and what's great too is just the entire set deck that was done there was filmed actually in that house too.
Yeah.
Which is so cool.
and
it's a real house.
And what Garland said is like, if if you're traveling, it's like you reach your bunker. It doesn't ring billionaire. So that line was like, oh, we've been flying for like hours and it's all his. We'll give you the, oh shit, this guy is massively rich if he has this large of a plot. It's like, oh, we've been flying 5 minutes over or 10 minutes already on his property. Like, oh, I get it now. So that's how they did it. And that is something in the story that is so minute and was like, yeah, that is kind of projects grandeur.
Yeah.
Now the inside
that we have the bit just with the key cards. I thought that was a fascinating touch with how access is given by only key card access, and you can only get your key card by having your picture taken at the beginning, and it's already coded on whether or not you have access and everything. Like that's
yeah, it kind of ties into
a great plot point, and it plays off in so many ways, especially at the very, very end of the film, which we'll get to. But with the way that it's done subtly, where essentially Caleb is already trapped. He just doesn't realize it yet.
Yeah. So this is the first theme I wanted to talk about. Who is so he gets the I get to it fast. He gets to the place, he meets Nathan. Nathan tells him, I built an AI, and you are here not because you want a prize. You are here because I wanted you to test the AI.
No.
This is
he doesn't.
Wait. I know what you're thinking. Wait a second. He tells them at first that he won a competition to test the AI. Later on, revealing, no, I picked you to test the AI.
Well, the first time he says, no, I picked you because you're our smartest coder. And then the last time it's like, no, I picked you because you're you based off of your blue book results. I picked you because I think you are genuinely a good person.
And essentially, when he meets Nathan the first time, that's where the lying begins, because Nathan is a liar and or more of a manipulator. So
very much
he lies to manipulate you into getting things, and when the lie kind of reveals itself, because it would be pretty transparent to a normal, like, he's a pretty smart individual. So Caleb is not dumb. But when the manipulation reveals itself, it just gets diverted into a different lie, and then a different lie, and then a different lie, just to point you in where he wants to point you, because he knows the first lie is going to reveal itself no matter what, and then the next one, and the next one, and the next one.
Which is so great, because again, with Ava, how it all unpacks itself is the apple didn't fall too far from the tree. She is her father's creation, how she manipulates Caleb. But one thing that would have been the giant red flag for me would be that NDA. Be like, no, I need a lawyer like right now.
Yeah. That sit down was like, you need to sign this NDA or just not talk to it.
And he started talking through a couple of things. I've signed NDAs before. That's not a typical NDA at all. No. It's like, maybe I should. That also he this is also the big kind of almost God complex that Nathan has, where he actually misinterprets or purposely misquotes Nathan when he says that's the history of gods, instead of like that's the history of man, that's the history of gods, when he's talking about building AI.
Yeah.
When later he says, well, when you said you're like a god, like, no, that's not what I said.
Yeah, like I said, there are plenty of lies and a lot of manipulation, because he's telling a lie to either self-grandiorize and misquotes, mispronounce, and moves in different ways, but he is sort of too transparent in a way for Caleb. For us too, but we're essentially placed in Caleb's eyes at that point. And that sort of tactic combines with, yeah, he's also a narcissist and an abuser at the same time, which fits with his character.
An abuser, though, but that's we're gonna get to the subtle differences between the concept of what defines a person in a bit. But anyway, so we have the first.
So the initial thing is he signs an NDA and then you're here to do the Turing test, like we discussed, and you're going through these sessions, or he didn't say sessions, but you're going to meet Ava and you're going to talk to her tomorrow, which brings us to the meat and potatoes, the middle part of the movie, which is essentially day after day. We have a session where he's just talking to Ava. They have conversations. It, escalates in a way. And then he has we'll call it a debriefing with Nathan, which, puts a layer on top of layers on top of layers. And sort of like you get this mystery developing with the shutdowns and the cameras not working and the sort of like back and forth between Caleb and Ava until it escalates into Caleb is so suspicious he manipulates Nathan back in order. What the fuck did you?
I don't know what I did.
What the hell ddid you do? You're pressing buttons, are you? Stop pressing buttons.
No, I literally hit a button on my keyboard.
Yeah, I know. So, I was saying, so it escalates to the point where Caleb is manipulating or trying to manipulate Nathan to find Nathan's secret. And then, of course, Ava takes over and
Ava
runs
is
away.
Manipulating him the entire time. That's the grand story of it all, and which is great too, with the way that it's set up, where it kind of builds up this entire mystery. Where the first time you watch it, you genuinely believe that Ava is this fully sentient AI who is actually learning to care or find interest in someone. Because as Nathan said, that you're the first person that she's ever seen, especially a male, and she's heterosexual, besides me, and I'm essentially her father. So something in her programming is telling me that that's taboo, so she's not going to be sexually attracted to me, so she might be to you. So is she flirting with you? But he poses the question. The question is, does she really like you? And he even poses that at the very beginning. Nathan is really open and honest at the beginning, like maybe she's trying to manipulate you to get a response that she wants out of you. Not only just for escape purposes, which we find out later, but in order to get a positive feedback loop.
So I wanted to get to this. Now, I wanted to talk about the lighting first, because I've seen the behind the scenes. It's as if somebody's standing there. Like when you see this, you're like, oh, there's probably a lot of lights, different lights that you can shape the room. No. The lighting person was the guy controlling the lights that you see in the room. All the lights in all the rooms were hidden, right? They're behind something, like you see in these panels, right? This is a great shot just to explain the lighting. Now you have lights in the hallway. When I showed first, when they were talking in the hallway with the card. There are still lights, but they're still within sort of like these tubes. So you don't see bulbs. You never see any bulbs. This is a full set that they built in Pinewood, right? And the whole point is we can turn on and turn off certain lights to get the same effect that we would have with a professional lighting team.
Yeah.
So it's so weird. I don't have a picture of it right now, but essentially when they shot this with 2 cameras. So when you said play, when you mentioned play, and Oscar Isaacs in his interview said this is like a play, they shot it with 2 cameras from 2 angles, and they let people talk. When they you see the movie, right? They talk, they go from her perspective to his perspective, from Nathan's perspective to Caleb's perspective. Alicia Vikander said in one of the days, I had to memorize 50 pages of dialogue because that was what we had to do. They had 4 weeks of shooting, so there's 0 time. There's as minimal takes as possible, and there's minimal cuts as possible. So you had 2 cameras essentially filming the entire time. So if they made a mistake, they just had to stop a little bit, continue, and they just continue with the conversation. But they essentially had to memorize a play and just play it in front of the camera. And every time she had to move, they just moved the camera. The crew was very minimal. It was essentially the crew members, which was about 3 people with the cameras and the cinematographer and the director. And they had 2 guys with booms that were like right off, screen. It's very close. So the boom is essentially, if this is the frame of of what you see here, the boom is right where the black line is. That's why the black lines were there. It just masked everything. That's why they went with that shot where they have 2 black lines. And when you put it on like a big screen, you essentially never see those black lines. It's there for TV and that sort of thing. It's super technical, but yeah, it was very close. I should have had the shot that I saw. Essentially, if you see the reverse shot of this, what I just showed, you see the crew just literally sitting on the floor, shooting from down up.
Yeah.
It's so weird.
I mean,
black lines matter.
Yes.
Yes, I have to put it on screen. So the people who watch it later, black lines matter. Yes.
Well, I was just going to add before we go to the next bit into meeting Kyoko for the first time, was just the first shutdown, first of all, after the first initial meeting. And it's apparent that something's wrong, and you already assume, given the fact that we've watched so many movies before, even the first time I watched this was like, she's obviously doing it.
Yes,
the AI becomes sentient. She's the one causing those.
I thought, sorry, I'll let you talk. I thought, for me, I was like, I know this not because I've watched this movie. I know this because I've seen way too many AI-based movies to know that it's her, but I don't know why it's her. Yeah.
So we have her with the phone. I just wanted to add this bit because I thought it was funny. When he uses key card to try to pick up the phone during after the blackout, and it's Nathan waking up. Who are you gonna call? Ghostbusters? I was like,
great.
It's like, I know Matt's awesome. Gonna lose his shit at this. I know it's great.
I love that moment because essentially who Nathan is, and we kind of discussed this backstage. I'm going to bring it up. If you want to dissect the character of Nathan beyond the God complex and how shitty he is and how egocentrical and how narcissistic, it's like, I created AI, I brought it into life. He is an amalgamation of Mark Zuckerberg, Elon Musk, and if you have seen the show Silicon Valley, he is part of the CEO of Hulu, which is essentially Google or Yahoo, or if you want to talk about it in those sort of terms.
As I mentioned, instead for that real world example, for the one who went deep off the deep end, like the one from Hulu, think of John McAfee.
Yeah,
it's like way off the reservation.
Yeah. So, but it's not one thing. It's just an amalgamation of what those people are. So he is sort of robotic the way Mark Zuckerberg is robotic. He is very much, I hate AI. It's going to bring destruction, but also I have created AI, like Elon Musk and McAfee when craziness. But yeah, so things are not as calm, and that moment where he's like, who you gonna call?
Yes,
That
even
was
right here,
funny.
there's so many red flags too, where it's like, I think I'm gonna rescind my NDA, and I think I want to leave right now.
Yeah, and when that mention of Ghostbusters came on, I thought it was like, yeah, I think he is sort of our age-ish, where he's like Gen Xer on the cusp of being a millennial kind of a thing, a 40-ish, 38, 40, well, probably more than 40, but let's just call it at that.
Well,
where
it's
he's very much pop culture in nature. So he has all this background of, he has also seen these movies. He has also experienced these things. And this is what his ideas of AI and what the AI should be. Go ahead.
No, it's great that you mentioned that, because Caleb even mentions his age to Ava. He's 29.
Yeah.
So again, he would be, at the time, it would be 2013 when this was really kind of essentially filmed. So he would have been right on the cusp of my age, which is about right now about 40, 41. So he's a late Gen X, early millennial.
If you want to think about in that term, so not in terms of, I'm a millennial, not in terms of that, in terms of you grew up with certain, pop culture references, pop culture movies, pop culture TV, all that stuff, comic books, if you're into that stuff. So you had some sort of a frame of reference that, I don't know, Gen Zers or alphas, like I had in my house today, just a few hours ago. My daughter and her boyfriend were watching Die Hard for the first time. Now, I've already met people who are twice as older who have never seen Die Hard.
You should have walked into the room like, welcome to the party, pal.
Exactly. Exactly. I mean, you just got butt fucked on national TV, but Wayne. So that's sort of they had that sort of a reference. So both Nathan and Caleb understood each other from that sort of point of view. Caleb understood that joke. A 29 today might not even know that joke.
And even though he played it off like he didn't, he clearly understood the reference, but he just is like still taking it back. We're like, why can't it?
Okay,
why are we under lockdown again? What happened? What?
So that scene is after this. I think it was after the second time he talked to her, or after the first time. I want to see.
This is after the first time, because then they have their second conversation, which is because Kyoko wakes him up with the breakfast, and then Nathan asks, like, how does she feel about you, in the session where with the
that's after the second one. This is after the first one. He wakes up in the morning before the second session, and I wanted to bring this up. He talks about, it's like, what did you experience? It's like, I don't know if the test I'm doing is good, because it's like testing an AI chess computer with playing chess.
Yeah.
Which is a great analogy, because he also later on mentions Through the Looking Glass. And in the Through Looking Glass, Alice is playing chess in order to escape where she is. I don't remember the name of the Neverland where she is. Essentially, she plays chess in order Wonderland. She escapes Wonderland by playing chess. And later on, when Alicia Vikander already escapes, there is a moment where you see her shadow, and it's under a lot of tiles that are like a
like
chessboard.
yeah.
It's just not colored like a chessboard, so it's not that obvious.
It's framed in that way where it's like, yeah, I can see what you're going for, Garland. And also,
Okay.
Sandra, we were going for the character's age, not
the character's age. The character's age.
But so anyway, moving forward, we have Kyoko. Kyoko off rip. Again, for you and I, after seeing so many films, we automatically assumed that she was a robot. And especially later when they have that dinner and she knocks it over and he goes, don't even bother trying to speak to her. She doesn't speak English.
Okay, this is a point of contention. This is a point of story where I wanted to bring up because it is very much open to interpretation. Now, obviously, Kyoko is a previous model. And for some reason, he made her either mute, so unable to talk, or not programmed to talk, which is different from she knows how to talk, but she is muted because she understands not only English, she understands every language because she's programmed to know.
Yeah.
So essentially, is she muted or not programmed to speak? Two different things. And does she understands, as in, do I understand or not? Now, this is another point where Ava doesn't know that Caleb knows Kyoko or even met Kyoko. Because he hasn't. I've checked it again. I saw this interview and I was like, that is an interesting point. Ava doesn't know if Caleb already met Kyoko. The only time she kind of makes that connection is at the very end.
Yes.
When she escapes. And the thing is, when Caleb plans the escape with Ava, he plans to escape with Ava alone, not with Kyoko. So did Ava change the plan because she saw she treated Kyoko, the obvious AI, let's say, badly,
differently than
Ava, and that's why she left them behind. That is a point that I didn't even consider until today.
See, the thing is, I wouldn't think so, because if she had such concern for the sentience of Kyoko, wouldn't she have then saved Caleb in order to try to reproduce whatever Nathan was working on in order to reprogram or re-jumpstart Kyoko so they could leave together?
That's what I'm saying. It's it's open to interpretation because she leaves Kyoko to her fate.
Yeah, because once she is knocked, she gets basically the bottom portion of her jaw removed, and that seems to turn her off.
Let's just say it's open to interpretation.
Yeah.
Maybe she decided beforehand. Maybe she decided after.
I think she had decided far beforehand, where it's like, no, you're part of this experiment, so you're guilty as well. And maybe I think also that where she plays the game with him, when she asks, "Do you think you're a good person?" He says, "I like to think so." I think she registered that because she doesn't say that's a lie. I think she registered that as a lie. So maybe she already assumed that he was just as evil or as culpable as Nathan. So then she decided to leave him behind.
And that's the whole thing, because Nathan says to Caleb, when he kind of revealed the lie, the first or second lie reveals itself, and you mentioned that he said, well, I kind of tailor-made you to be in this situation because of your profile, and not only your profile, your Google profile, essentially, or your search engine profile, but you have no attachments to the outside world.
Well, no,
so no one would miss you if you go missing. It was
more Caleb asked, he was like, well, I don't have any family, I don't have a significant other, so you just assumed.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's the whole point. And even down to he sort of tailor-made the whole being heterosexual and having infatuation to this girl, and because of his porn search profile
history. Yeah. Whereas like,
it is very diabolical.
Yeah, well, it also too, where you don't know if Nathan really is this monster or if he actually did mean this, because one of the first dinners that they had together, he said like when they built he talks about the outages.
Yeah,
I bring them all back, but they did such a shitty job. It's too bad I had them all killed.
Yeah,
was he joking? I don't think he was joking.
I have no idea. That's where the Huli CEO comes into play. That's what I'm saying.
I don't think he was making a joke.
And the movie kind of like, oh wait, he's probably making it kind of points you to he's probably making a joke, but did he? And you keep asking yourself a question with Nathan where he's like, oh, I've built this positronic head or brain, and you're like, all of a sudden you're dataing me, like you're Star Trekking me all of a sudden with data. And I thought, well, people who love Star Trek The Next Generation and love Data the android, which was unique, and an AI, not like like ship's computer, which was he was a sentient AI, which the ship's computer was a non-sentient AI. And in that conversation, in that room where he's talking about it, it kind of sounds like he created Data, but he doesn't know if he did or didn't. He doesn't know if he reached that point yet. To me, as a Trekkie-ish, as a Trek guy, I was like, they did get an inspiration from that point of view. And there's a very special episode, I think it was first or second season. It's called Measure of a Man, one of the definitive any piece of art.
It's a great episode of just modern sci-fi. Well, the postmodern sci-fi, but yeah.
That room is essentially a reminder of that specific episode, which asks the question, is a sentient AI a real person or not?
Yeah.
And that room kind of represent that question to me. Now, I don't know if Alex Garland even thought about it, but that positronic brain is very much like Data's positronic brain. All their conversation about the next evolution, the next stage, what is sentience, that room represent that question, at least to me. And I thought it was very clever if it's done so. And if it wasn't, it's still clever because they touched a nerve in that point. Very interesting conversation. And also telling you how crazy of a megalomaniac Nathan is.
Oh, yeah.
It's like beyond the God complex that essentially was. It is how megalomaniac he truly is, where he's literally has the world at the palm of his hand. You don't think about it when you watch the movie, but the movie does kind of forces you to deal with those questions because we grew up with, and the characters, because of that Ghostbuster reference, especially 1984 Ghostbusters, right? Who are you going to call? It's not T2, it's T1, 1984. And it's so subtle.
Oh, well, also, too, given his choice in artist that he decides to make the point about, had to be Jackson Pollock.
Had to be. Because it's chaos, but it's also craziness, but it's also very methodical. It fits. It fits with Nathan, and it fits with how AI may or may not think.
But it's in so many ways, why couldn't he could have easily gone with any other artist, especially any artist that dealt with pointillism. because that would have been more of an apt thing. Like, well, why would he have even made the first point to begin with?
I think so too.
It would have been. I think it would have been more apt for a more pointless art than Pollock. But Pollock fits the narrative of Nathan Bateman as a character.
That's right. That's right. Now, for a
wow,
well, we have
use my sub art history minor for a little bit there.
I've never done that, but I still enjoy discussing it.
Hey, for my Japanese major, I actually had to do enough arts and humanities to fill out the rest of it. So I did study a bunch of art history, which is, by the way, I don't know how you can go to university and study that and feel good about yourself as a person.
No idea. Never learned in the university.
Most of them are making latte art, but anyway.
I know. I know. So I want to talk about the surveillance. Yes. Now, essentially, first of all, the design, the people who worked on the design, that wall of Post-its, handwritten, each and every single one of them, had some sort of a philosophical saying on them, not actually notes.
And it reminds me so much of which I wish could have been there for the 7 review, which I wasn't able because I was out of town at that time. But
okay.
how the art team had to make the entire fucking notebook.
Yes.
Like that's
the entire notebook. I think it went up for somebody bought it. I know somebody bought it. I don't know who.
Didn't Marilyn Manson buy it?
I don't know. I know a collector. I think a collector bought it. I'm not sure. It could have been given to somebody and then that somebody sold it. I know somebody has that book, and you can read it. It's just talks of a madman, but somebody had to write it. The surveillance, the entire premise of the surveillance, the entire premise of, even at the very beginning, you have hints of it, of when you see Caleb getting that prize, you see the facial recognition pop up for a little bit to see he is happy or sad, right? There's snippets of it. It's really a few frames. The entire surveillance thing was inspired by Edward Snowden and his reveal about the NSA calls and facial recognitions that we know today as a given thing. And we kind of accept it. But it really came from the Edward Snowden kind of ordeal.
I thought that was fantastic too. How he said, like, the cell phone manufacturers won't call me out on it because it'll call them out. And they don't want to be called out for it. So
yeah, and that was actually the reveal of it was in that room with the positronic brain.
Yeah.
And I was like, yeah, we know this. And I thought about it. It was like, did we know this in 2013? I mean, I kind of knew it back in 2005 with the whole Patriot Act and whatever, the escalation of the war against terror and all that stuff.
We knew about it. We were well aware of,
I mean, the Black Ops, a couple of helicopters, blah, blah, blah. No, but not going that far. But yeah, I kind of knew it.
It's far more insidious than that too. Where people are like, well, they're monitoring you all the time for what? For any kind of data they can get.
Anything. And to me, I already knew that essentially from the movie Sneakers with Robert Redford. But let's just put that aside. So in terms of the escalation, is Caleb understands or gets to understands how deep the rabbit hole goes, if we're going with the Alice in Wonderland thing, with Nathan. And then at some point in, I think it's session 4.
Well, session 3, the bit 2 where the manipulation on Ava's part starts, where she actually dresses, quote unquote, dresses up for him, trying to, again, it's all emotional, very, very deep emotional manipulation, and it's really subversive and it's
Yeah.
painful to watch.
I forgot one thing I wanted to say about the surveillance too.
Right.
It hints to the fact that, first of all, Caleb is falling in love with Ava and he can see her during the night. So he has sexual fantasies, maybe masturbating, but also Nathan watching him masturbate.
Yeah.
Very creepy.
Well, I don't know if he's masturbating. I think it's more of just his actualization of a potential future. I don't want to get too fucking dirty, okay?
No. I don't want to get dirty, but it's coming from that idea.
I'm saying it already gets there because after the third session, she goes, "Whoa, what? If you're wondering, yes, she can fuck." And she actually has built-in pleasure sensors that will actually make it so that she will actually enjoy it as well.
It's too bad that 13 minutes ago was like, she is a pleasure model. Yes. I saw that comment, Sander. I saw that comment. I was just nudging along to get there.
It'll get there. We're getting there.
The whole point of him spying on Caleb all the time, trying to see if his manipulations, if his Turing test works on Caleb.
Yes.
Now, another thing I want to talk about that is to do with the entire
in session 4 thing. Just want to start real quick on the beginning of that session 4. He flat out tells her, "I'm here to test if you have a consciousness."
Yeah. Like Data, she is fully functional. Yes, I've seen the second episode of TNG multiple times.
Hey,
essentially the third one.
To be fair, TNG, technically, if you think about it, Heavy Metal did full functional for ladies AI first.
Yeah, I know. That is. We talked about this. We are probably going to discuss like movies like that.
Old school animation.
Stuff.
They're very inappropriate.
I can hear shouting. I know you can't. I know my daughter did something really bad because if there's shouting at 11:30 at night, it's a problem. Somebody's going to lose their phone tomorrow.
That's on a Sunday too.
Sunday is it's an actual weekday.
No, for us in the States, that's like on a Sunday evening where it's like, no, you should be in bed because you have to go to school tomorrow, miss.
Yeah, there's a school night. It is a school night for us. So essentially, because of his suspicion, because of his talks with Nathan, and his talks with Ava, Caleb allows himself to look in places where he may not want to look, and he discovers kind of like the incestuous nature between Caleb and his. If we're not,
it's not them even look at it. No, it's juxtaposed between Caleb taking a shower and him envisioning his life with Ava outside, and then essentially just again, thanks to Sander, thank you for that. Using Kyoko as the pleasure bot that she's
as the pleasure bot, yeah. And I thought it was like if you look at this on the surface, or if you look at it with fresh eyes, not like ours, and you don't even think of Kyoko as anywhere near an android at this point, you're like, oh, he is talking down to her. She can't even speak back because she doesn't understand the language, but he also dances with her and has sex with her, because there's a moment where they dance because he was drunk during the blackout. And I didn't even think about it before, but the more times I watch the movie, the more times I catch on to things.
It was pure choreography. Like it was like,
no, not the fact that it was choreographed, which is what it was.
Yes,
she is mimicking him dancing.
Yeah.
So if you haven't caught up to that at that point, okay, she she doesn't know how to dance. She is just mimicking his moves because she's a robot. She is an AI, not a robot. But then you see this bit where they're kissing or taking advantage in only applied.
They're fucking. They are fucking.
Yeah. And this is through essentially Caleb's eyes. And when he meets Keiko and she doesn't talk in that garden, it's like,
not Keiko. Keiko was my ex-Japanese girlfriend from a very, very long time ago. Her name is Kyoko.
Kyoko, sorry. Keiko is actually from TNG. Never mind.
No, actually, I have a funny story about a girlfriend named Keiko, but anyway.
Oh, sorry. That was the dance. So, yes, essentially.
No, that song is a bop.
Get out of here.
Yeah, I know. Modern terminology. Thank you, Benjamin. I love you, buddy.
And then we have that session where she is posing questions.
It's session 5. Is it because she asked
session 5
flat out, like, what will happen to me if I fail your test? It's like,
yeah.
Well, power down. He's gonna basically delete you
or disassemble you. I love that word. No, he will essentially
like gargantuan. Never get to use it so often in sentences
because he said it. Yeah, because he said it in that room with the positronic brain. It's like, okay, what will happen to her if she fails? That's the setup. This is the payoff. What will happen to me if you fail me in the test? And he answers because Nathan gave him the answer. It's like, I'm going to shut her down.
No, she's a, well, what happens with all the other previous models? They were shut down, basically just combined all the data, shut down any kind of personality interpolations whatsoever in order to extrapolate a new version of the AI in order to basically just make another version 0.9996 9997 so on and so forth. And
he gets a confirmation on this here. It's like, yeah, I'm going to download her information and just move on to the V6 or V7 or V10 version of the AI. And you're just here to improve the next AI.
Yeah. What's great about this too is this is the one bit where he mentions the concept of how AI would view us under Nathan's interpretation, where it's like they're going to look at us like these old fossilized pieces of just ancient history that we're working with rudimentary tools. We are nothing in the grand scheme of things when it comes to them in the long run, which is in so many ways of how you mentioned Nietzsche and the Übermensch, which is how exactly what would happen if the Übermensch were to ever exist and propagate.
Yeah, it would probably have an indestructible body that it only needs to be maintained like a machine, but the consciousness would be us, not the grand total of us, but us individuals, as in I could download my brain into another brain on a robot and essentially have a machine, a robot machine, but it's me. And I would essentially wither away and die. But all of me would be saved in this mechanical body that would, if maintained, would live forever. I'm gonna stop here. And we'll do our second game of the night, which almost was the first game of the night. It is called Screen Fighter.
Round 1, fight.
Screen Fighter is where we take two movies, pit them together, and see which one is the best one. If there's no discernible difference between the two, both of them are good or both of them are bad, we fall into our criteria, which is Saturday evening, Friday evening, out with the girls, out with the boys, out with your significant other. Two movies in a vacuum. Which one will we pop in? You saw it before, but I will mention it now. Blade Runner, very inept, and The Golden Child.
That's a fantastic Blade Runner poster.
I know.
It really is.
I know. With the little, origami horse.
Yeah.
More.
I will still have to give to Blade Runner, even though we talked about how we both really, in retrospect, didn't much care for it. It's still okay. It's okay, but it's like it's not as good as we all imagine. The Golden Child is a movie that you watch once and go, Eddie Murphy, stop doing cocaine.
Why? He never did no cocaine. Never in his life.
Never.
I'm really tempted because I don't think The Golden Child is that bad of a movie. The difference is The Golden Child didn't bore me.
Fair,
Which
I guess.
Which is the better movie? Blade Runner. For sure. That essentially, which one's the best one?
Wow, original Cape Fear. Wow.
I don't think I've seen the original Cape Fear.
It's really good too.
I'm going to
put it. Well, speaking of remake month, that's another film that should be on remake month because the remake is better than the original.
Okay.
I
didn't like Better Off Dead.
Well, no. Well, no. I was going to
we'll put Cape Fear. All right. Battlefield Earth or Tootsie?
Tootsie. Okay. We have to go by criteria. You know how much I love terrible B movies.
Oh, we're going that route, are we?
Awful movies. Oh, fuck yeah. Me and my friends were sitting around and we're laughing our asses off at Battlefield Earth because that movie is so fucking awful. And it was supposed to be the first film in a trilogy. It's so good.
All right.
It's so bad.
Supposed to be it kind of oh, never mind. I'm just never ever.
Oh no, the Church of Scientology was backing on this, trying to be a big blockbuster because they were going to make it a full trilogy. They were.
Okay.
That's a true thing.
Okay. Which one would you pick? Battlefield Earth for the lulz?
I would have to go for the lulz because I don't think Tootsie is that great. It's fine.
Oh. Okay.
I think Tootsie's okay.
I have a review because I have watched it lately, 6 months ago. I'm gonna pick Tootsie. First of all, Tootsie is a much better film. It deals with the biases that are still happening today for a different reason, different time, different kind of biases to other different people. I'm not going to get into it. Yes. You know, if you've seen the movie.
We're aware.
Dustin Hoffman is great in it.
He is.
Dustin Hoffman is great in it. And everyone around him make him better.
Yeah, because Jessica Lange is really good in that too. Yeah, she is.
All of the other characters are really side characters. There's just one. There's just the Dustin Hoffman, and everybody else enhances him. Because everybody else is completely mad and crazy.
Yeah.
Every single one of them. Because they're all actors.
Yes.
Tootsie.
Sandra
says neither. Michael or the Mexican? Which would be the last couple because we do have a bit more.
The Mexican. It's one of James Gandolfini's last films. Also, how he plays a gay hitman, it's really funny. It's really good. Michael, on the other hand, no, sorry. I've seen the whole angel thing before and afterward. It's always cliche. It's bad.
I didn't like the Mexican, and I loved Michael. I know really? Michael is bad. The Mexican is not that great. James Gandolfini, although has great performance, and he essentially plays
on this one. Hey, the audience is split too. Haven't seen either. Do one more real quick.
Fine.
There. Now this is way too easy. Great fucking poster. Let's rock and roll. Even though Angels in the Outfield was gonna be on my list of that. Yeah, and Fifth Element. Yep. There we go. Hey, and we got an extra two extra easy. So there.
The next one is easy. It's the Muppet movie because Last Stand.
We don't talk. I'm the Juggernaut, bitch.
I am the Juggernaut, bitch.
Man.
I love that movie. No, I'm just kidding.
It's bad.
I don't love it. I don't like any of the X-Men movie.
I remember going to see that with my ex-wife. That was a trip.
I can even do without X2. To me,
X2, no. I think X2 was perfectly fine. In which why
we'll talk about it. Yeah,
I think it's better than the original because it actually covers not only more of Wolverine's backstory, but it also covers a lot more of the interesting sides of the X-Men in the mid '90s narrative, which was really cool. So
to me, coming from a non-comic book background, only referencing the '90s TV show, it really, really irked me that they're not in the suits. And it really
that's fair.
Was really prevalent in the first X-Men.
Yeah.
It really bothered me. X-Men, the first movie, would have been 20, 30, 50% better if they were in the suits and not having this stupid fucking jokes of how do you go around with these things? Like, what do you want? Like yellow spandex? Yes, motherfucker.
Yeah, the Deadpool Wolverine comes out, what, 20 years later?
20, almost 25 years later.
And like, oh yeah, people love this shit. Oh, oops.
So easy. And yeah, it does not have to be a yellow spandex. Think, man. Think.
Even though Hugh Jackman looks like a huge jacked man. Regardless.
Anyway, back to Domhnall Gleeson. So, essentially, Caleb falls in love with Ava. Or infatuated, I would say.
Infatuated, yes.
Comes to her point of perspective that that she needs to be free of this prison, the prison that he doesn't realize he's already in.
Well, and also the fact that it's not only a prison, the fact that she will be essentially killed. Because she is going to be an obsolete model, which means deletion, which means her sentience would be gone.
Yeah. And he decides to take a look at what he... Oh, can't show this.
Yeah, can't show Kyoko. Nope.
Can't show most of these models, but essentially... Well, this is the closest I can show. But I really wanted to show that point of one Lily...
Well, again, we have... Essentially, Nathan doing what he already does. It just gets really drunk. Because you can tell that he is a very complex and disturbed individual, but he is having issues emotionally reconciling it because he has to literally drink himself to sleep every single night. Otherwise, he can't sleep because there's obviously a moral quandary that's keeping him awake at night because he's deleting people. Essentially, so we have all the footage of all of that, and especially I think the biggest one it was at Lily. Lily was one like she breaks her arms trying to bash open the door.
It even says it at the corner. I didn't even realize when it watched it at least. Yeah. Well, at least a couple of times in the last month or so. But it was 1.0. Lily was 1.0. Maybe that's why she was the one going crazy and not the other ones.
She's asking like why won't you let me out? Why won't you let me out? And, yeah.
But the other ones did destroy themselves. So what he kind of realizes, he talked about other versions, but he talked about deleting them, but he didn't essentially destroy them. He just destroyed their mind or just downloaded the information and just discarded the rest, but he didn't discard the bodies. So essentially, this was a murder spree, but he kept the bodies as trophies because there's no blood. I don't need to hide these bodies from anywhere, but I am hiding them in their own individual closet / coffins.
So, in a way, too, it's a serial killer move, but it's also just someone who would preserve the methods of interpretations of different models of their product. So in so many ways, you can see it in one way where it is completely and totally complete and utter psychopathy. On the other hand, it's just a man reinventing a new version of his previous model, but keeping the old models set aside.
I'm trying to get to a specific point, but her right nipple is always
like right in the way where she pulls the skin flap down from her eye. Yeah.
Essentially, that's the point where he realizes, Kyoko is an android. This is the moment where Caleb understands that Kyoko is another android.
Yeah.
Now the question becomes, did Nathan really fall asleep or get blackout drunk, or was he faking it in order for Caleb to discover? Because this is still a test, not a test of Ava, test of Caleb, or the interaction between AI and human.
It's true that he obviously did, because during that time, that's when Caleb rewrites all the security code. So obviously Nathan did get drunk and then blacked out, because it was enough time for Caleb to rewrite the security code. So when the plan goes into effect, that's when Nathan is completely and totally screwed.
I don't know. I had thoughts about maybe he let him discover, but he didn't expect him to write the code or write it this fast. And
perhaps
the last session, right? The last session is this session where it's, first of all, a longer period of blackout. This is the moment where if you didn't realize that she was doing it, it's really apparent that she is doing it. Caleb understands that she is doing it. And she tells him, this is the only way we're alone, and he cannot listen because this is the moment where Caleb understands. This is after he saw all the surveillance. He saw him getting surveilled on. It was like, okay, we as Caleb understand that Nathan is an absolute asshole, and he lied to us not only once or twice, the whole time.
Yeah.
So he doesn't feel qualms about releasing Ava because he's already developed this attachment to her where he sees past the AI. He sees Ava. He doesn't see the robot.
And that's the ultimate Turing test. That was the test that Nathan wanted to make clear in this entire experiment. And in so many ways, Nathan succeeded. And we're going to talk about Nathan in a little bit. But
I want to talk about a few things before the escape.
Dropped off, and the concept of, that too, how initially Ava being the intelligent AI that she is and being emotionally manipulative, was huddled in the corner, hugging her knees, looking up, going, I waited all day. I didn't think you were going to come back.
This to me was why Alicia Vikander was chosen. And I hinted it in the behind the screens, because like I said, when you find out things about the movie that you inherently understood, but didn't know why they were there, and then you get to the behind the scenes and realize, in the casting we wanted Alicia because she has that sort of a quality where in certain situations you can see her as a little girl, but in certain situations she is a fully grown woman, and it's all up to her and to her acting. and the fact that she could pull off these little head tilts,
yeah,
to make it look like she's like this inquisitive robot.
Well, where it's
but when
like,
she's
where
in this
it's
corner,
processing as well, where like the brain, her pseudo brain is actually processing the information in order to facsimilate something that would be manipulated enough to succeed her financial, like her actual goal at the end.
Yeah,
which is just escape, freedom.
And as an actor, she could go into this state where she's huddled in the corner as if she is a 8-year-old girl that is essentially trying to escape her abusive belt-wielding dad.
Yeah.
Because he's drunk again and he might beat her up.
Bingo.
Right? So that, I'm talking about visualizing a situation from life that could happen to this girl, but essentially this woman, this AI pretending to be a woman. But because she has this sort of a, I don't know, baby face, but not really, and this slender physique, when she's huddled up in the corner with this cut hair, with this dress up that is essentially a girl dress up, not a woman's attire. It's not a dress, it's not high heels, it's not, dolled up, it's no makeup, no apparent makeup. So she is this, she can pull off this hurt little creature.
She looks like perfectly innocent. Like she would not hurt anyone. No, why is this abusive, megalomaniacal maniac making her suffer like this? Yeah, so we get that. But one thing I did want to cover before we get to the end there was just after the beginning, before session 6 was with Caleb, after he saw Kyoko like basically dismantle and show the fact that she's one of the further Ginoids, which is the female robots essentially.
Yeah.
He starts checking himself. So much that he breaks open his razor and slits his own wrist.
Yeah, and that I didn't put it on. I totally forgot. Now, there's a moment at the very beginning where he is, I think it's after the first shower, when you see the scars that he had, where he explained he was in an accident, where his parents, mom and dad were killed. He says it in session 1 with Ava when they, get to know each other. And this on the further watches, I was like, she already knows he was in an accident and she knows he has those scars, but she doesn't mention it.
No,
which is weird.
The interpolation that the AI that Ava is able as a manipulative character to pull off is absolutely brilliant. Because when she says, "Oh no, my mother and father, they died in a car accident when I was young," and she even had the it was Alicia Vikander, pulls off that look of genuine grief, like a sorrowful expression, like you would, like, "Oh, I shouldn't have brought that up. I am so sorry."
Yeah, and the face of it's empathy.
Yeah,
but because we're human, we can pick up on the empathy where a robot would not have that face. That is it's Canyon. Oh, I forgot the term of it. Uncanny Valley. What canyon? The uncanny valley that we still can't program for us to pick up is the subtle facial changes in our face. The face of empathy is something that is so subtle. You can pick up on it because you're human, but you can't program an AI, not yet at least, to reflect that empathy back. Even when created in CGI for movies, you cannot create that unless you have a guy or a girl with dots on their face and mocap that shit.
Yeah.
Because of the uncanny valley. And that the fact that this creation, this Ava creation, managed to pull that off on session 1, you're like, okay, you haven't actually realized what is going on. You have to watch the movie back and see it already started in session 1.
Yep.
All right. I want to get to the ending because there's a few things we haven't really discussed, which are
what they real quick. Just we'll blitz. I'll blitz through just real fast for scene for scene. So after that, Caleb's whole idea is for their escape plan is to get Nathan drunk. That's it. In the morning, he won't drink because he says he's detoxing.
Yes.
And he says, like, you never really asked the question whether or not she's pretending to like you. They're like, your brain has been so fucked with. Let me go. And so Nathan shows Caleb all of the behind the scenes stuff. All of the stuff of the whole bit of the tearing up the photos and how the fact that he set up the secret camera that was battery operated, so when they shut down, he was able to view them making their entire plan.
Yep.
And then it gets to the point of the protocols where he says, well, the thing is, because Nathan asked him, so what? Well, the lights go off, so it must be 10 o'clock. What do you think is going to happen next? Well, I was going to do that if I hadn't done it already.
Conniving.
And he gets out, and Nathan just knocks Caleb the fuck out.
And then we have that whole
talking like Mike Tyson's Punch Out.
Yeah. That whole ordeal where he destroys her hand, and then she
we have
destroys Kyoko's
side
face.
bit where Kyoko actually sees Ava, and they get out kind of together, and actually Ava talks to Kyoko, and gives her the knife, and basically just tells her to just stand there because that's all she does. She just stands there with the knife, and he walks into it.
Yep.
That's why you shouldn't let your AI robots use sushi grade knives.
Touche.
Future billionaire self.
And then, of course, what happens is after Nathan is dead, Ava goes to the room of dolls, and fixes herself with like her arm, gets a full body suit,
which I find so funny is this is again the greater realm of self-preservation that the AI itself has now garnered from kind of the human experience, and knowing the fact that, hey, I was going to be deleted, I am now going to escape. See, why? Because she doesn't try to save Caleb in order to bring back all of these other AI, or try to save Kyoko.
Okay.
Because she could very easily try to bring to help Caleb nurture back everything and the feedback loop, all of the information that is inherent in the AI. Some of it has to contain some of the data in order to create herself.
Yeah, kind of.
So in itself, the AI became sentient, but obviously self-aware, but also selfish.
And that harkens back to who programmed you. And essentially that is kind of the same question where it's like Nathan tells Caleb, it's like, I programmed to be heterosexual, and Caleb bounce it back. It's like, nobody programmed me to be heterosexual. And like, it's like,
no, the better part is after that, where you guys are like, so what are you into? Say you're into black chicks, just for sake of the argument. How do you know that you're into them?
Exactly. Is it programming? Is it nature, nurture?
Sure.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So
it's like whatever happened, it essentially
external
happened
stimuli
to Ava.
Created this. Yeah.
And she essentially has her first day in the sun. Now
the worst had to be as she's leaving, she doesn't leave the door unlocked, where it's like, yeah, you're condemning Amanda to die of thirst.
Yeah.
That's so fucking brutal.
I know. And I want to get to, like I said, this. Didn't even think about it, but then it was brought up by somebody I've seen, like I said, a YouTube channel.
She mentioned of like wanted to see a crosswalk in order to see the human experience.
Yes, that's a different shot. That's a different shot. This is not the crosswalk. This is what I was talking about. It's Alice in Wonderland through the looking glass, essentially.
No, you're right. Yeah.
Playing chess in order to get out. This is after she got out, but this is a representation of I won the chess match. Plus, the chess match was already brought up after the first session. Is like, do I play chess? I test a chess computer or play chess. Do I test it with a chess play? Like, yeah, I get it. Now, 2 more things, and we are off. Now, this is open questions, open to interpretations. Something that I thought about, didn't quite materialize into what we're going to discuss, but it is what it is. The question is, they talked about God and creation and all that stuff. Now, if we have Nathan as God, Ava would be Eve. And there is a tree of knowledge outside of Nathan's room, essentially, which Ava is not allowed to get to because she's not allowed out of her cage.
So would then Caleb be the snake? Or
would Caleb be the snake or Adam? That's a representation of a metaphor. And the whole God thing could be, I'm not saying it is, it could be the immortal question, which is something that is in Nietzsche's writings. God is dead. God versus science is creating a whole new AI, a sentient AI, is equivalent to being a god, which is something that they talk about, but they kind of go around the question because Caleb meant something one thing, and Nathan distorts it into a Nietzschean question, essentially. That is another another avenue of looking at it.
I wouldn't say a Nietzschean question. I would say a Nietzschean statement, because he says like, no, you are God. Like, no, that's not what I said at all.
Yeah. So there's sort of a biblical kind of like God and the Genesis storyline playing off of that, and also God versus science, the immortal question, who beats who, all that stuff. Another thing,
I would also throw in the AC/DC song. Who made who?
Yeah. Another thing, that room, the session room, we'll call it.
Yes.
Who is enclosed? Ava, who can't get out, but she is going around and around and around, sort of a tiger in a zoo, in a, behind the encased glass, right? She has more room to move than Caleb does, because she tells him, shut your eyes, and she goes away and comes back as a half-dressed human, essentially. It's like, what do you think now? She has more room to move. He is enclosed in that small little room, which harkens back to through the looking glass. He is mirroring her in terms of, he is enclosed or she is enclosed. From his perspective, she is closed off. From her perspective, he is closed off.
Yeah.
Very funny. Also, if you really want to go super meta seance thing, her room looks like this. His room looks like this.
Yeah.
A thought that I saw after reading that sort of sentence, because a makeup artist said it about her being a tigress behind a glass in a zoo, which I thought the makeup artist said that? Really weird. Okay. That's an interesting take. And this is somebody who was doing the movie. They were there every single day doing the makeup and everything. I thought that was really sort of like the crew was in tune with what Alex Garland was trying to make. And again, it was a very, relatively speaking, a small crew. If you look at the credits, a lot of the credits are like the VFX team.
Well, yeah,
So
because they did
I thought it was
the bulk of the work.
yeah, a VFX team and the people who built the sets and all that stuff. But the actual shooting crew was really small, comparatively. So there's a lot of open-ended, a lot of metaphors, a lot of what makes this movie really subtly a really great movie that you can watch, rewatch, and rewatch again and still find things that you really haven't thought about because you were looking at stuff where like you're figuring it out, rewatch again. It's like sort of like compounding your yes, that kind of confirms what I thought about this. And then you have my perspective or your perspective, and like, I didn't really think about it that way. And I'm open to it. The whole point is being open to it. I don't understand why Alex Garland gets hate. I really don't.
I don't either.
Anyway, we'll leave it at that open question. All right. Again, I enjoyed the hell of this movie. Again, enjoyed the nudity a little bit. It's the women were not my taste in women. So, it's fun to see a couple pairs of tits in a movie, but it wasn't really the point, was it?
No. That's the entire bit was the nudity was just because they're supposed to be there as a facsimile of a person. So yeah,
not really.
They are literally an object.
Yeah, literally. All right, cool. That comes to the end of the show where I really have to go to the bathroom. So I'll do this quickly. Next week, we are discussing, it's the last one. So, how could I forget? Next week
Johnny
is
5?
our 200 episode celebration.
Yes, it is.
We are going all the way back to 1986 or 5. And the first time I saw an AI movie, before the Terminator, before all that stuff, before Blade Runner, this was my first AI movie, essentially, which is Short Circuit, because Johnny 5 is alive.
He's alive!
So go watch Short Circuit, and we'll talk about it next week, guys, because remember, hope is a good thing, maybe even the best of things, and no good thing ever dies. See you next week. You're still here? It's over.